name's Elizabeth Cartier, and I have the great privilege of leading a ministry of prayer for pastors. It's called Pastors Prayer Outpost, short PPO. And we gather weekly to pray for requests that pastors email into us. And it is a great privilege to pray for pastors, for the leaders of the church.
I'm Dick Germain, the founder of Barnabas Ministries.
And why did you start Pastors Prayer Outpost, Dick?
Actually, years before I even thought about it, God has spoken to me at a certain time in my life, saying to me very clearly, I want you to be a man of my word and of prayer. After I had begun the Barnabas Ministries and was developing support groups for pastors, one afternoon it seemed to me as though God said, I want you now to start a prayer gathering of people to pray for pastors. And I thought to myself, I don't have any time to put something like that into my life. I'm so busy already. And I resisted that urge, which continued to come back to me every once in a while for a whole year. Finally, I realized God was not going to stop, if I can say it this way, pestering me until I did what he wanted. So because Elizabeth Cartier was already my number one intercessor upholding me in prayer for this ministry, I went to her, told her what I had been wrestling with before God, and that I would like her to help me start a small, regular gathering of people to pray for pastors. We came up with about 5 people whom we knew were earnest people in prayer and cared for pastors. Invited them to come on a Friday morning for, I believe, 1 hour and pray with us for pastors. We had put the word out to pastors that we wanted to pray for them, but we needed requests from them, and requests came in. That Friday morning, by the time I left that meeting, I had been transformed in my understanding of what God wanted me to do as a whole in this ministry, and that the first and most important thing for me was now to be the Pastor's Prayer Outpost, me being there every Friday to pray. And for the first 2 years, I led it. And then I asked Elizabeth to take over from that point on.
I remember those early years, Dick, and how wonderful it was to gather as an intercessor with other intercessors, and some pastors would join us. And it was wonderful to be able to use the gift that God had given me, the call that God had called me to pray, and to pray with others, and to pray for the leaders of the church. So it's been a real journey, hasn't it?
Oh, it sure has. It sure has. And I'm sitting here thinking of some of the things I see that have happened because we have been praying for pastors. There's now, 10 or 11 of us who are regular intercessors for pastors and have been doing this for maybe 15 years, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Anyway, I think, for example, of one man who sent us the same request every Friday morning. This went on for several years, but we never felt we should discard it or forget about it. But he never changed the wording. And a few months later, his prayer request came in and it was different. He had changed it and brought it up to date and was telling how to pray now and the things that were happening. That's just one example of what we repeatedly hear from pastors who will eventually send us back an update, a report on because you prayed, thus and so happened. So what I see is God being really faithful to his promise to us to pray. And where Paul says, pray for each other and pray for me. That's the kind of thing we're doing. And we are seeing God respond. And we're seeing pastors' lives change. Honestly, we're seeing their ministries go forward as well. what a joy it is to be a partner with the Spirit of God in praying for these pastors and what they put before us.
Yes, I've seen similar things, Dick, and it's been so wonderful to see answers to our prayers. You know, we walk with pastors on their journey, lifting them up, lifting up their arms like Aaron and Hur did to Moses. So they can be victorious in their call to pastor their churches. We have seen pastors come together and serve their communities in different ministry ways. And it has been amazing these 15 years to see the transformation. We've seen Pastors Prayer Outpost expand. We are now in different places in the United States, and we have interest in other areas of the world. You know, as the ministry expands, we pray that God would raise up prayer in those communities and they can be blessed the same way we have experienced the blessing of being an intercessor, praying, and for the pastors to be blessed that they are being prayed for.
Yeah, let me go one step further, Elizabeth. We had to do a major change in our approach when the COVID virus pandemic struck, just like everybody had to. And we went on Zoom. And one of the good things that came out of it was we had pastors from around the world meeting with us in prayer on our special first Sunday of each month prayer and fasting morning. I remember it was only maybe 2-3 months ago that we had a pastor from Nepal and we had a pastor from India. The pastor from India was sharing the struggles and difficulties they were having, and the pastor from Nepal poured out his heart in prayer for the pastor from India. Woohoo!
Yeah. Yes, it has been wonderful. And since we've come together on Zoom, since COVID has happened, we have the ability to include people from other parts of the nation that have moved out of the area, people that are, you know, it's a long drive to come together. And this enables us to be together every Friday morning in prayer. And the Spirit, there is no lack of the unity and the spirit of prayer that happens as we gather. And so we are loving what we are doing because we are called to it. And we are also looking forward to the future because prayer has been the very foundation of this ministry. So there are intercessors out there that are called to pray for the leadership of the church. I know there is because I'm one of them. And until that time that I knew that I had this call, I was wandering, waiting, looking for my chance to be a part of what God was doing. And I remember that day so clearly. This is what I was made for, to be able to pray for pastors. And so I just want to encourage anybody who's watching that this may resonate with you, that you would start asking the Lord to gather together intercessors to pray for the leadership, to pray for your pastors.
I hope you enjoyed our video. Please click on the John 17:23 button to subscribe to our channel and click on another video to listen to more.